Hello, this is the Justice for All podcast with your host, Randall Latta.
And Gage Gilbert.
And today we are going to have kind of like a presidential kind of debate. And our focus today is actually government. So we'll just kind of go through some hot topics that any candidate should be talking about when running for any office, but especially the presidential office. And we'll kind of give you our views. If you guys want, just comment or message us about who you think wins the debate and who you'd vote for. So that kind of fun thing on this week's episode. So Gage, what party are you going to be representing?
Well, I'm mainly independent in my views. I tend to lean more liberal on social issues and more conservative on economic issues.
Okay.
Okay.
I am more of a libertarian, I would say. So you're Republican and I'm Democrat. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, we'll see, guys. We do kind of stray away from those kind of things, as you'll see, but we'll dive right in. The first topic up for discussion will be immigration. So, Gage, with immigration, first of all, do you think we have any problems with immigration? What are things that you'd fix about immigration, or just overall feelings about it? Any kind of immigration, legal, not illegal. And then also, part B to that would be: do you think what kind of regulation should be placed, or what kind of things should entail with immigration? And you go ahead. You have as much amount of time as you want for this too.
Okay. Well, I think we have a lot of problems with our immigration system now, both legally and illegally. Illegal being the biggest problem. I know in the news one of the biggest things recently is that Trump is sending the National Guard to the border. Have you heard about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a large caravan, I guess, of illegal immigrants coming from Central America, and they're going to basically try and storm the border, is what they've been, saying. So Trump sent the National Guard there, and I agree with that move. I don't think we should be allowing, thousands upon thousands of undocumented immigrants into our country because, you see what happens with, drugs and crime and stuff. Obviously not saying all illegal immigrants are bad or anything like that, but it does contribute to an overall crime problem. As far as the legal immigration goes, I'm fine with legal immigration if you come, here legally and everything. I think as far as our background checks and stuff like that, I think they need to be stricter, especially with the refugee category. We kind of, take in refugees from all over the world without really, seeing who they are before we let them in and stuff like that. And we're really putting our country at risk in that department.
Right. I think those are good points. Is there anything else you want to add? Were you about to say something?
Oh, no. You can go ahead if you want.
Okay. Yeah. So my view on immigration is I think immigration is key for our nation. I think we should welcome immigrants. I think we should make it easier for people to legally come here. The policy we currently have, I think, is too lengthy and I think it's harder than it maybe should be. I think we should give people more shake. Now, having said that, I definitely think illegal immigration is a terrible thing for any country. We have borders for a reason, and there's people here trying to get here legally, and it's lengthy for them, so why should you undercut that? Also, I don't think that illegal immigrants should should have opportunities that American citizens have. I certainly don't think that for illegal immigrants. I think maybe regular immigrants in time should get benefits and stuff. Maybe after a few months or something, just to see how they contribute to society first, and then you get the perks of being an American. As far as anything else, I don't think I don't think it's necessary to really have a wall. But if we're gonna have funding for any walls, I think it should go to both of our borders, the north and south. And I also think we should, I think the military move that Trump is also doing, I support that as well. I think that would be better, maybe than even a wall, if we just focused our military on the borders and pull out like Syria or something, So I really support those kind of things. Again, I really think we should make it easier for good people to come here, and the people that are trying to, it should be easier. And illegals, we should not support that. And I think sanctuary cities shouldn't be a thing as well. That's probably not a popular thing, but I really think I'm a firm believer that we need to look out for our interests first. And good people will come, and we're welcoming people, but I think we get taken advantage, and I do not support lax immigration policy now. So that's kind of my stance.
Yeah, and I would agree with the vast majority of those points. I think me and you, we agree on this topic. Yeah. I would say for the legal immigration system as it is now, yeah, I do think it should be less time, but I also think it should be more effective. So if they could cut back on all the, the waste and stuff that they go through, I don't think it should take 10 years for you to become the legal citizen. But if you're going to cut back the time, you need to make sure it's also effective.
Right.
In your background check system, make sure there's not any loopholes to get through. Make sure you're not missing anything. But yeah, I would agree with that. As far as sanctuary cities go, no, I don't agree with them at all, because California and stuff is being sued by the federal government right now because they're making a lot of their cities sanctuary cities. And honestly, it looks like it's the state government deciding that, and not even the people, because a lot of cities in California are standing up against that. So I think it's just part of a political agenda, honestly. But no, I don't believe, if you're coming into our country illegally and, you're undocumented and stuff, I don't think you should have a safe haven in a city. I don't think they should be, like the congressman did out in California, informing all of the illegal immigrants before of an ICE raid and stuff like that. I don't think that's right. Because it plays into national security. I mean, obviously I'm not saying, all these people are bad or whatever, but it's a national security issue.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I think, like I said, we have these rules for a reason. And as Reagan once said, a country without a border is not a country. So I think it's important we recognize that, but also, be welcoming at the same time. And how you do that is laxed policy to let good people in, make it easy for them, so you don't have that excuse. Beef up your security, and then also, well, this is going to be into something we're going to talk about later, but I'll refer back to that, and I'll tie my point together. But I was going to say, if we legalize drugs, we would see a cut down of crime like that too, I think, and then dissuade that as well, those kind of behaviors. But that's another issue. So that's immigration. Is there anything else you want to say, or did you want to move on?
We can move on.
Okay, cool. So the next one's electoral issues in the system. So electoral issues, and then it's and/or the system in general. You know what I mean by that, how our system is set up. Everyone thinks it's broken. So Gage, as the president, how would you fix the system, or is it good as it is?
Well, I know from the previous election, a lot of people had problems with the Electoral College because they believed that, because Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, that she should be president. But, the founding fathers, whenever they framed the Constitution, they purposefully prevented that because it's called tyranny of the majority. If you look back in history to all of the pure democracies like Greece and stuff like that, they've all failed because of tyranny of the majority. Because if you get, one state or two states with too much power, like California and New York or something like that, dictating all the rest, what all the rest of the 48 states want, then, your country will start to fall apart eventually.
Exactly.
So I do agree with the Electoral College. I think there are problems with like gerrymandering and stuff like that on both sides with the Democrats and Republicans. Because I mean, if you look at like some of the congressional district maps and stuff like that, like I'm sure you've seen the ones that are like really weird shapes with like little things sticking off of them, and like they're supposed to, like, they do that for their own political gain. So I mean, I think it would benefit our country if we got rid of some of the gerrymandering and stuff, because then you wouldn't have, it should be a state by state issue, I guess. And like, if you got rid of some of the gerrymandering, then, some of the political parties in power, it might be competitive now or something. Mm-hmm. Whereas some states are either solid red or solid blue. And if people, in the next 15, 20 years, start changing their views and stuff, but they can never get who they want elected because of gerrymandering, then, that's an issue. Right. So, I mean, I would say it's bad on both sides and that it should be fixed in that aspect.
Yeah. So a few things for me. I agree with that last part. However, so overall, the Electoral College, I think that's a good thing. It's equal representation throughout what state by state wants. I think that's a good thing because it gives the little guy a voice. I agree with your point on the population. I think money for, I think part of what you were saying before kind of goes to like the money aspect. I think that money should either be taken out. You cannot give money to candidates, or it should be obvious where money is coming from for these candidates. Either or, but no these super PACs or anything like that. I think I would do it with that. Also, I would once I was elected, I would like really enforce small government. So I would disband a lot of our government programs like the IRS. I would get rid of like the EPA, things like that. I'll leave that up to the states. I will limit my power as much as possible, except for like the military and basic things. I would also implement like I would implement like terms for senators and congressmen. So kind of like how the presidency cannot serve more than 8 years. And then also I would have a policy to where if you want to run for president or any party, you get stage time. And even if the government has to pay for that to be broadcasted, it will get done. So everybody has a fair shot, and I'll do away with the two-party system to where it's more like who you really want. Because you look at it, and like about 50% of people registered to vote were independents. So not even Democrat or, and they probably just voted less of the two evils. So we gotta, there's a demand there for, something different. I think we need to really address that and then try not to be bought out. And like I said, once we need to get the money out, or it needs to be apparently clear of where it is. So those are just a few things. So like I said, I'll just, again, limited government would be a lot of my policies. Leave it up to the states, and then try to change the whole like voting and things like that. So like not voting like how you vote, but like the candidacies and the lobbies and things like that. Yeah. So it needs to be transparent.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with those points. One of the major problems in our country, if not the biggest problem with voting and stuff, is the two-party system, because for years upon years now we've been voting for the lesser of the two evils, basically, whether it's Trump, Hillary, or whether it's Obama and Romney or whoever. People were unhappy with Obama, right before he got elected in the second term, but they dislike Mitt Romney more, basically. So they don't like either of them, but they like Mitt Romney a little less. Yeah, and a lot of the debates have become like about that, where it's like, well, at least this person doesn't do this, or at least look at what this person has done, and then but they don't sit there and say what they're going to do
Exactly.
change. It's like
it's like a fucking
like they're saying, like, well, this person's worse because of this. They're not saying why they're better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I'm better on this because they're this bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are things too. Like I'll try to get it to where, I think it's almost like you need. I would rather see Joe Rogan or like Ben Shapiro or Jordan Peterson kind of guy being moderator for one of these things instead of like a CNN host or a Fox News host. And then let's get down to the issues rather than the he said, she said, because I think they really pander to that, and that's something that's got to change too, because people need to be more clear on what you're actually going to do or your intentions are, instead of
and that goes into the super PACs and stuff like that too. We need to get rid of those. Back, like I said, whenever the Constitution was founded, the founding fathers also never meant for only the very wealthy to ever hold power.
Exactly.
You look at how much money it costs to even run for like the local office and stuff. It's like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and nobody's gonna have that.
Yeah.
And it's like you're just getting all these rich people in power that have no idea what the the common man in America stands for, or common man or.
I would say too. I think the limited government part is really important too, because I know for sure that my local governor and governing body knows more about what's good for me than some motherfucker in Washington D.C. 3,000 miles away. So it's like I think that's something that's got to change too. The executive branch is way too powerful. So yes, if I was president, I would give myself less responsibilities. People. Randall Latta, 20, whenever.
20, whenever you turn 55.
Yeah. So on to some social issues. We're going to just, kind of bang these out. And these should be pretty clear on, quick, brief thing. I'll rebuttal and then move on, okay?
Okay.
First thing, abortion. What's your stance? What would you
abortion?
do? Yeah. Abortion. Like, how do you feel about abortion?
I disagree with abortion. Okay. As far as like the rape and incest and stuff like that, I would support it in those cases. But a lot of the pro-abortion arguments are for those like very minority cases that happen less than 1% of the time.
Yeah.
Because it's always like, well, what if this happens? What if this happens? But like the vast majority of abortion cases are not because of that. They're just because, they don't want the baby or whatever. And I also do see it on the flip side as well, from the Democrats' perspective, that, the Republicans are very pro-life and saying, well, you need to have this baby and you need to have that. And then, but whenever the baby's born, then that care stops.
Right, right.
If they're born into a poor family or whatever, there's no, they're going to be struggling for the rest of their lives, basically. Or if they give them up for adoption, they're going to be in some foster care system that doesn't have any funding at all. And a lot of times those kids get abused or whatever. And, I see it on that flip side as well. So I would say that, I don't agree with abortion, except in those, small, the very minority instances.
Sure.
And I also would say that we need more, funding for child care after the baby is born.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. For me, I support abortion. I am pro-choice. Me personally, I am pro-life. However, I'm not. I don't know what people are going through. I don't know if fiscally it might be a better move for them. I don't know the circumstances, so I'm not. I don't think I have liberty to say. So my stance is clearly pro-choice, just for the fact that I don't know. And if you can rationalize, because it is, I would think it's kind of murder. But if you can rationalize that, or whatever, more power to you. But I don't think it's also the same as like murder. I think it's a different kind of murder, justifiable murder. As odd as that sounds, but like I said, I just don't know. We don't know. Maybe I would look down on it as like a contraceptive, but not my decision, you know. So that's kind of my clear.
Yeah.
I'm real easy on that one. But again, you know, personally, yeah. So, and that's kind of where we, you know, divide.
Yeah, the two questions I would have for you on that then. One, where do you draw the line of where it's okay or not?
Again, I think that's justified.
First trimester, second trimester, third trimester. Like,
is
it okay to abort the baby the day before it's born? Versus, you know,
I would say no, but I would leave it up to the person. Again, I would say. I mean, I don't think so. That's fucked. I would say that's fucked up, but not my decision. That's how I'd say handle that.
I think we need a limit. Like, if you're gonna leave it the way it is, like, obviously, I don't think that third trimester abortion should be legal at all. Right. I mean, and they're not right now. If the baby is viable to live outside of the womb, you know, you can get a C-section or, you know, induced labor or whatever. Like, you should not, like, what's the difference between, you know, if, you know, if I get a girl pregnant and she's gonna have a baby tomorrow, like, her killing the baby today because it's still in the womb versus her having it tomorrow and then killing it, you know.
Right.
It's a crime. It would be a crime the second way, but, like, if it was legal across the board, it wouldn't be a crime today, even though there's, like, no difference.
Sure. I'll answer that question right after our break, okay? But okay. This is part one, and we'll be right back on government and issues. Thank you, guys.